original, Hulk, The Lowdown.
A little more than 40 years ago, Marvel Comics introduced the world to a character whose superhuman strength was fueled by nothing more than a very basic, very human condition: anger.
Granted, an accidental and massive dose of gamma radiation didn't help any, but ultimately it was his extreme rage that turned him from a mild-mannered scientist into a mean, green fighting machine.
Unstoppable and capable of wreaking incredible havoc on anyone or anything that lay in his path. We are, of course, talking about the Hulk. And who better to bring him to the big screen than director Ang Lee?
I'm going to take you where the action is, explore the Hulk experience as it happens on the set, and also check out his earliest days as a comic book icon.
And I'm up here at ILM, the premier effects house, where an amazing group of designers are doing their part to create the living, breathing beast that up to now existed only in Ang's mind. And here's the lowdown. I finished shooting months ago, but Ang and the crew at ILM are still hard at work choreographing the Hulk's every move for the computer.
Motion capture is a way of recording an actor's performance, a lot like a film camera, except in this case, we can record a performance that's going to go onto a digital character, like the Hulk. One of the great aspects of motion capture is we can work with the talents of a director and actors and get exactly the performance that Ang wants to see on the Hulk.
Each dot of this corresponding to a certain spot of the Hulk.
Right.
So you get a good blueprint of the realism, how he moves. Of course, I don't have the Hulk's physics.
Right.
That's why they put this here, so I cannot close my arms.
Gotcha.
So I would naturally like this. And I have to do something broader, and I have to slow it down.
Those markers never move throughout the process?
Yeah, and that's part of the, the magic is taking these dots, which represent Ang's proportions,
Right.
but use them to drive the Hulk, who's shaped differently. And that ends up looking something like this. So this is a kind of rough version of that data mapped on to the Hulk. So this is kind of what he'll look like, very close to a final shot.
The reason I'm doing it is so I don't have to direct another actor or stuntman. I know exactly how this should be done. It's all in my head, and it's very hard to translate to somebody else. So it's the quickest by the time frame we had. I have to jump into the suit. You should try that. It's really therapeutic.
Yeah,
very
sure
satisfying to see what you do translate to what that guy do.
And action. Nicely done.
Ang was very concerned with Hulk's emotional state, and there's a lot of performances that aren't typical, monster movie performance kind of stuff, but where Hulk is looking deeply into Betty's eyes or having a very subtle change of emotion or mood. And Ang often shot those performances on video that were used to animate the facial performances, but it turned out that the motion capture was a good way to capture the essence of those subtle interactions.
When the show first arrived at ILM, Ang came here in October and he's been here ever since. That's never happened in my experience, where the director of a live-action film has invested so much time in making sure that this character is exactly what he wants.
He does know what he likes. He knows what doesn't work. He's very meticulous, but we have a whole team here very willing to make his vision come to life.
And action. 1, 2, 3.
Attending every aspect of it down to the very last detail is the only way I know how to make movie. It's important for me to keep the same aura, the same way of making movies. I think that's important in filmmaking.
In the main theater at Industrial Light and Magic, he stood up and addressed the crowd, and he said, I see film as a work of art, and I not only see each shot in the movie as a work of art, I see each frame of film and each shot as a work of art. So we all kind of gulped and went, well, he's setting a very, very high standard, and that's what he expects from us.
And action.
The technology should be invisible. Only when it's over, you say, wow, you know, how did they even do that?
Get ready.
In the world of computer-generated imagery, virtually anything is possible. Pigs can fly. Hell can freeze over. And time waits for any man who's got enough drive space and imagination to say so. Here at ILM, the creative team behind the Hulk is hard at work, creating the gigantic green behemoth, one pixel at a time.
We've got a great animation team that is right at the forefront of doing the most difficult work that's been done working on this show. It's just amazing seeing this stuff, you know, come together, what they can do with a mouse and a keyboard, you know, to give life to these pixels.
One of the reasons Ang was willing to do the film was his confidence with the digital artists at ILM under Dennis Muren's supervision that the Hulk would be able to stand toe-to-toe with Eric Bana and Jennifer Connelly and Nick Nolte.
I think it's time to bring the sophistication in public entertainment in the computer world, so you can invest your emotion into it, not just watching the creature go crazy.
How do you guys here at ILM go about developing a performance, developing a character? How do you pull that off?
You know, it's years of experience in doing this, and this is the biggest thing we ever did. And it starts with the director, like Ang, having an idea what the character should be. And it's words and it's artwork, and we sort of get drawings of it and sculptures of it. Then it goes into the computer with a lot of really talented artists doing it, you know, like 300 or 400 people working on it.
We all have our little notions about, you know, what humans do, and we have very sharp perception on how human skin should look and what humans do. So if you make the slightest margin, you make the slightest error, usually you can tell.
Just the technical challenges of making a realistic digital creature that the only way he exists in the entire movie is by us generating him. And the levels of detail that need to go into skin and hair and all that is pretty astounding.
We were given maquettes upon which to base our models, and there are 3 different Hulk creatures in the film. The trick was that he had to transform from a real live actor, from Eric Bana, into these various Hulk sizes, so all of the Hulks had to be built with those parameters in mind.
From that maquette, they build a CG model, which has every single element in that model, how it actually moves.
Taking on this task, we knew that we had to get realistic poses out of the creature, and then on top of that, realistic muscle animation, and then we'd wrap the whole creature up with a dynamic skin that would slide over the surface of these muscles and break up the form of the creature and the actual texture of the creature.
We want to make sure that the audience believes that there's a living, breathing being. And when he grows, he doesn't just look like some Macy's parade balloon, just goes, right. You know, like it has to grow. What grows first? Well, the bone grows first, and inside out. And so what you see here is a really good example of that. Is what we call the concept sequence. We in the art department have taken that and drew additional details on top of it. You'll see that if I stop on any one of these, it says skin stretches, clavicle grows. We're pouring over every single little detail on the Hulk's body as if it was a real person that we have to make whole cloth from scratch.
They create a wireframe model that then is handed off to the animation department.
I think we use every single technique ever discovered in animation. It's really getting to the essence of the performance. Motion capture might be a way of getting there, but really what it is sitting down with Aang and saying, what are you going for here? We would show video of ourselves to Aang. We'd say, what do you think? Could Hulk act like this? Could he run like this? Anytime things were overly clean, he would say, no, that looks like animation. And so really the goal here is to not make it look like animation, to go for all those imperfections that come out of real life.
My name's Sam Elliott. I'm going to kind of give you a demonstration of how we do animation here at ILM. And we start out in something like this, where someone called a modeler has sculpted the Hulk in the computer, sort of out of digital clay. And then another guy called a chainer puts in a skeleton that I can actually manipulate and move. So coming in here, we can grab any of these little controllers, and I can, have his head turn around or grab his hand and move it up over here and maybe grab his elbow and pull it down over here. And in doing all of that, we can create a pose at a particular moment in time. We are basically creating 24 pictures per second of his performance and his acting performance and how does he move.
I thought what I did was difficult at times. It's a piece of cake compared to this.
Oh boy, I don't know about that.
It's amazing.
Well, once Aang is bought off on that, which is called blocking, then we end up in a program like this over here, which is Carry. Carry's a proprietary software developed by ILM that lets us do facial performances. We work in Carry the same way that we would work in the low-resolution program, where we can just save different facial positions at different points in time, and we'll use a mirror and see what our face does, or we'll see what Aang's face does, or film each other's eyes and see how our eyes move when we're feeling different ways, and we try to put as much of that in as we can, try to bring them to life. This is how it looks when I'm working on the facial stuff. It doesn't have the skin or the texturing that's going to make him look realistic later. It's just...
But the movement's there.
But the movement's there, exactly, and it's there enough to where it's still three-dimensional and Aang can judge the performance.
Generally, the animation is done several days or weeks in advance of when it actually comes to us, and then it's our job to integrate that into the scene. So it's a matter of lighting it, shading it, putting skin texture on him.
I'm one of 3 computer graphics supervisors on the show who are basically in charge of making sure the whole computer graphics pipeline works together, and also overseeing the work of the technical directors who mostly deal with the lighting and compositing and rendering of the Hulk.
This is a shot BH6 that we will use just to show the various stages that we go through to actually build up this character in terms of not only the layers of skin, but also the transitions that we've gone through in trying to figure out the look of this guy. We then take it into the technical director's hands, who go in and actually light it and set the lighting up according to the scene. And the scene in this particular case is a room warmly lit from the right-hand side, so we're sort of playing up that. And this is the final shot.
I'm interested in telling a story and actors. I care about the actors, and they're reacting to the work that I do, and my work is to react to the work that they do, and it's very close, and to me personally, to do this.
Do we see enough of the grease when his head bang on the canopy?
We're playing up the fact that the wind's hitting him at 400 miles an hour, so we're sort of squinting.
And that's final. It's good.
Good. Huge amount of effort, of course, went into making this thing look absolutely real, so you don't even think about it as an audience member. All you're thinking about is the character. The technology should be invisible. Only when it's over do you say, wow, how'd they even do that?
I'm passing flight level 600. This is out of my envelope.
Hang in there, legend.
I can't maintain. He's all over my aerodynamics.
He'll lose consciousness before you.
The Hulk is the ideal video game character.